All right. All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Peter DeMarco. I am the Vice President of VAR Sales. And on behalf of everybody at D&H, I want to welcome you to our Mid-Atlantic Technology Conference. You had choices both last night and this morning when you got up, and you chose to spend time with us. You chose to spend your money with us, and we're hoping that this is a fantastic experience. We are proud to serve all of you. We are proud to host all of you. In fact, we'll have over 700 partners here today and thousands that will live stream our seminars too. Give yourselves a round of applause for being in the sweetest place on earth, Hershey, Pennsylvania, and for being in the best business in the planet. We are excited every single day at D&H. Hopefully today you'll learn something and you'll be able to do something with what you learn. We consider ourselves the uncomplicated distributor. Our events are no more than a day and a half. We know your time is precious, so we want you to be able to go out and execute, again, from all the things that you've learned. We've had tremendous growth over the last few years. In fact, our VAR business is up almost 50%. And we do that, we believe, through personal touch, better than our competitors. We help you solve problems. We help you resolve issues. Simple things like deal registration are not simple. Getting access to a financial program, getting a certification, getting sales training for a specific solution can be very, very hard. And those are the things that we hopefully are executing for you every single day. We also take on the role of being a voice and the face to the vendor community on your behalf. SMB partners, consumer retailers, and e-tailers. We align with the vendors that want to roll up their sleeves and get a lot of shit done for us every day. Sorry about that. Lenovo has been a fantastic partner. We are proud and happy to have Matt Zielinski here. He is Lenovo's North American Vice President. He uses words like beast mode in his presentation. And so we think it's a great partnership for us, and him being here is a tremendous opportunity. For D&H, it's about service and support. We help our partners build their existing business and advance for the future. For the last 10 years, we have been recognized as ASCII's top broadline distributor. But for me as a sales leader, I love the words that are up there here. Helpful sales teams, ease of doing business, issue resolution, solving problems for you every single day is critically important for us. And we've been doing it for over 100 years. In fact, we have just entered our 101st year. Today, when you got up and you watched the news, you saw a whole bunch of headlines. There was talk of Mexico and tariffs and potential interest rate changes. There was also a story about Tom Rice. He is a 97-year-old World War II veteran who parachuted out of a plane onto Normandy Beach, France, to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. He was there 75 years ago. 75 years ago, D&H was not only in business, but thriving and persevering and transforming every day for the next big opportunity. And the lifeblood of D&H is its people. One of the things that drives us is the fact that we're an ESOP company. So every associate that you see on the back wall, they are owners, not shareholders, but owners in D&H, and they have a vested interest in your success. Our success is driven by having a very specific and maniacal focus in a few areas. SMB commercial markets, e-tail, retail, and consumer markets, and select public sector markets that we focus on like K-12. And wrapping our diverse market capability as a way to spin up offerings, initiatives, and businesses so that we can execute very, very fast in front of you. We are now well over $4 billion, and in a few years, we will be a top 100 private company in the US. And for that, we're very, very proud. What's even more exciting for all of us is the next 100 years. So this year, we move into a 250,000 square foot facility on a 50-acre campus a few miles from here. State-of-the-art capabilities and technologies that are shared by all of our associates that we think that everybody can leverage in the channel. In fact, we will be the only distribution sales center that is within a few hours drive of every northeastern and major mid-Atlantic city, and so we're really excited about that. We invite all of you to spend time at this center, to collaborate on solutions, to participate in labs, to bring your end users to help you close deals, and to meet with our vendor experts. We think it's going to be a huge opportunity for all of us and our partners as we move forward. We've made investments in resources, field resources for the VAR team, solutions labs, solutions experts, investments in services, devices as a service. We believe we have the most robust and flexible device as a service offering in the business today. And so for that, we are very, very proud, and we are really excited to move forward with some of these solutions and services. When we think about SMB and we think about our marketplace, we think about two categories or two technologies and solutions areas. One being cloud. And really the backbone of cloud is services. We think there's a huge opportunity for all of us as we move forward. We hired on Jason Bystrak as our Vice President of our cloud and managed services business to build service capabilities for all of our partners, to create a building blocks programs for sales enablement, technical enablement, and to launch our next generation digital cloud platform that if you didn't see at our seminar at 12 o'clock, you can see out on the floor today at D&H Central. Huge opportunities and huge capabilities, and wrapped around that is the most complete end-to-end services capability. So if you want to take a device, a cloud application, a security application, antivirus, help desk, 24/7 support, and collapse it all into a single offering for one payment for an end user, we can do that for you. We knew getting into this market, it had to be flexible for the SMB customer, and so we're excited to talk to you about that today. The other solution that we're excited about is collaboration. So you think about SMBs and really the younger generation of SMBs that are coming into fruition today. And with the advent of 5G, many of these small businesses will be mobile. They'll be spread across the country. They grow up in a world with a device and a smartphone that works. They want to be able to collaborate. So now, with the lowering of costs of collaboration technology, voice, video, and messaging, we think there's a huge opportunity for collaboration as we move forward. And we think the time is right for digital signage in the SMB space for healthcare organizations, K through 12 and public sector. And so we're really, really excited about the technologies, the solution experts that we have with you, available to you, and then the vendors that we're aligning with that. So with that, again, I want to thank you for your business. It's been a privilege in earning your business and being your partner for the last couple of years, and we're really, really excited for the future. So round of applause for being an amazing set of partners as I bring up my boss, Dan Schwab. All right, as he runs up here.
Peter, how are you?
I'm good.
All right, thank you guys for your time. All right, how's everyone doing today? All right, good. I know you all came just for the open bar, but we have some really important things to share with you today. And again, first of all, I will reiterate what Peter said, is that we appreciate you taking your time. We all have a lot of things in life. We're always busy with family and work. So you taking time out of your busy schedules to meet with us is very meaningful to us, and we want to earn your business. We want to add value. I think today will really be worth your value. As I walk through the show floor and I see a lot of the new innovative technologies, and it's not just about the products. We really want to spend a lot of time working with our vendor partners to have the best programs. Because we're not the supermarket distributors. We don't sell every vendor. We want to have the best in breed and drive disproportionate share for them. And why is that? because we believe in those vendors. We believe they have great channel margin, channel integrity, and they really want to help you be successful, and they don't want to compete with you. And with that, I have the lucky job today of introducing Lenovo. So Lenovo is a fantastic partner of D&H. We are very aligned on growing the business, and we've had explosive growth. Our business has literally doubled over the last 3 years, and we think that's going to happen again in the next year or two. And it's because they not only have great products, they're an outstanding company to work with. And when you speak about products, they have a very broad portfolio. Some of us may only think about them as a ThinkPad company. But today, we've had tremendous success with their workstation products. We sell their services. Every amazing breadth of products you wouldn't believe. In fact, at D&H's new headquarters, the image that Peter showed earlier, we're going to have 63 digital signage solutions throughout the company, managed by the department head, can be overridden by HR, by elsewhere in the company. It's a Lenovo digital signage solution that they're deploying, which is a home run that we've not seen better. So they're one of those companies that I think you can get deeper with, and you can find more ways to grow your business and offer value to your end users, which is critical. And going a step further, how valuable and how critical they are to us, I have this sitting on my desk at work. And so does every D&H salesperson. It's called Lenovo and D&H Beast Mode. Because when the gentleman I'm about to introduce came to D&H, she said, we love what you guys do. You guys get SMB. Some other people talk about it. You guys get it. You're willing to do the heavy lifting to help partners be successful, to help them solve their issues, help them figure out how to go to their end users and either take cost out of the equation, help them scale their business. So this sits on my desk, and every morning I have an Outlook pop-up that says push it, and it says, Crushing Lenovo Beast Mode. So every sales rep gets this. And it's to remind us that we've got a lot of great partners. But Lenovo has really stepped up, and they've invested in the channel. They've invested in us. This is the first time we've had a keynote at one of our events. And it's because this next gentleman raised his hand and says, I'd love an opportunity to speak to your audience. I'd love a chance to tell them what we're doing. Because maybe we're a different company than they envisioned 5 years ago. And we're going to be a hell of a lot different 5 years from now. And hopefully we can become an important part of their business and an ally. And we're seeing this. In fact, one of our webinars, we do tons of different trainings for our customers in person, local, regional events. But online is a big focus to reach all our partners. It's still the #1 watch webinar we ever did is the Lenovo one on their workstation solutions. So with that, I'd like to welcome up my friend, a friend of the channel, a great friend of D&H, Matt Zielinski, the president of Lenovo North America. Matt, please come on up. All right, so Matt, before you talk, I have a video that I get to show about you, and it's my HR department edited out the parts that I wanted to have. So we're going to show you the standard Lenovo video, and I think this will tell you a lot about Lenovo. Welcome, Matt.
All right, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here with all of you. And I also have to say, look, I could spend the next several slides doing nothing more than whispering sweet nothings about how much I love D&H and the Schwab family. And that's not meant to be a joke. Truly, working with Dan and Michael and the entire team has honestly been, for me, a professional highlight, but certainly also a personal highlight. And I have to also tell you that I haven't met a person at D&H that I wouldn't immediately consider a friend or a colleague or even hiring into Lenovo, but I don't have to, and that's the beautiful thing about our partnership, is there's so much of it that feels like we're just one company and one big giant ecosystem together. So Dan and Michael and the entire D&H team, I really appreciate it, and that's on behalf of all Lenovo. So look, you see this slide behind me is a little bit cheesy, and it says Beasts Unleashed. And I should probably explain that a little bit. And the reality is, about 16 months ago, we set out on a bit of a journey. And the fact is our business wasn't all that great. We had been on a downward spiral in North America specifically. We had certainly lost our rudder in the channel. In fact, I would say we had done some things that were borderline catastrophic to our partner base for selfish, business-related reasons. And we had to really go through a bit of a rebuilding. And the first part of that was really to just dramatically simplify the strategy. And really the other most critical part of that was to help people get their swagger back, their hunger back, their confidence back, because the entire organization of wonderful people had just been beaten down from a bunch of really bad years in a revolving door of leadership. And to be honest, the other part that we had to do was really go through and figure out how we unbridle the potential not only of our people and our products, but also to unbridle the potential of what we were able to do with our partner base. And so somewhere along the line, you think about the word unbridled and unleashed and unleashing the beast in all of us, and all of a sudden this thing started to stick. And beast mode, to be very clear, also was like a business metric. It said, look, from the time this started last February, we were going to take 25 to 50 basis points of market share quarter after quarter after quarter. So there was this cultural reinvention, an entire channel break, basically rebuild that we had to go through. And what I'm proud to tell you here today is that the beast is officially unleashed. I'll go through and talk about several things today, but one thing I want to hopefully instill with you is that I believe, humbly speaking, that Lenovo has never been better in the region. We're just getting started. We're still very hungry. We're not perfect. I think we've done a lot of work with our partner base, and certainly of utmost importance is just to make sure that our broader partner community, that is you, that we're really hitting and firing on all the right cylinders. And frankly, my ultimate goal is to be the best Lenovo that you've ever worked with. But look, there's three things I really want to accomplish today with you, if that's all right. I have to come up here and give you a bit of the world through Lenovo's lens, meaning a bit of our vision. I'm not going to try to brainwash you. I'm sure you've been to lots of these things, specifically in the last 7 weeks, but I want to give you a taste of what we think the world looks like in the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 20, 50, even 100 years as we go through this transformation in the world of IT. The second thing I want to do is just take a step back and say, look, here's some of the things that we set out to do in this past year, and here are the results that we collectively delivered with you, with D&H, and the results truly speak to a lot of the help that we saw specifically within the SMB community. And then lastly, we'll spend a bit of time and I'll talk to you about what are our plans for the next 1 year. Let's get into the now. Where are we investing? And we're investing significantly. I would say specifically in the client business in North America, we're investing faster by a mile, 2 miles, 100 miles than our nearest competitors. And we'll see how that plays out in the next 3 to 5 years. And I'll also talk to you about what we really think our goals are in the next 3 to 5 years. The last thing I'll say to you is if Dan and Michael ever invite me back again, the first thing I promise to do is to throw up some of the slides that we go through today and show you how we did compared to all those things, and you can tell me if I'm full of shit or not, because I go to a lot of these things too, and a lot of times people make commitments and you hear these stories, and then all of a sudden a year later the entire story and strategy change because the fact is there was no commitment or execution. But that's the way we roll. Let's go ahead and get to it. So first of all, in case you're not intimately familiar with us, we're a big PC maker, there's no questions asked. But we also happen to be one of the largest vendors of connected devices on the planet. We certainly have one of the widest portfolios in the planet of connected devices. So as Dan had teed up, when you think of Lenovo, obviously ThinkPad is what comes to mind, and we have a wonderful branded business there, but we're really deep into AR, VR, we're deep into obviously smartphones, we're deep into workstations, smart office products. We have a lot of back-end IT relative to our server business, to big data, to software to process artificial intelligence. We really sort of are this one-stop shop of end-user compute IT. And our mission is, I would want to say very simple, but I'm going to double-click on this 3 times. Our mission is to drive intelligent transformation. Sounds great. What does it mean? It means that we want to change and improve the way people live, work, and play through being the provider that's maniacal about creating devices that really do nothing more than unleash the beast in all of us and really unleash full human potential. And our tagline really gels with that. It's smarter technology for all. And again, I know you hear slogans all day long, but I'm going to spend a few minutes to talk about what this really means. And it's funny, before I talk about current megatrends, let's talk about the last 100 years, when people 100 years ago without microphones would tell you what the future looks like. 100 years ago this month, the escalator was invented. The Band-Aid was invented. An instant coffee was invented. A razor that didn't look like a scalpel or a weapon was invented. And 100 years ago, D&H was an auto supply distributor and a tire tread house. So you think about when we sit here and we speak to the next 100 years, this is what life looked like 100 years ago. And look at all of our business relative to what things were just then. But what does that really mean in the world of technology? And to dissect that, you've got to look at a few megatrends. Now, I promise you, I'm an engineer, I guess. I almost flunked out of school twice, but I'm really not a technical, whiz-bang, visionary kind of person. And so I wouldn't show you something that I didn't wholeheartedly believe in, whether it be current trends that matter that I find interesting, or showing you and espousing a strategy of the future that I really thought was noble, believable, and a true direction. So first of all, 4 billion connected people. That's through smartphones, that's through devices like client and devices on a PC. That's not connected, other things that are self-connected on Bluetooth or local ecosystems. 25+ billion embedded in intelligent systems. So think about systems and servers and healthcare and different various vertical applications. 25+ million apps on the client devices alone and growing. 50 trillion gigs of data transmitted on a yearly basis through global wireless networks. And then this represents just today, these are 2020 stats, a $4 trillion revenue opportunity. That should be a 4 that's not black. I realize that shows up poorly now. But let's look at some other trends. What does this mean? What does this mean through our lens? So as I talked to you before, we really feel that we're in a unique position because we have all of these building blocks to expand on this explosion of data. Data is a new oil. As I said, we have everything from mobile PCs mobile phones to PCs to the data center. And the other thing we have that is the true gel of all of this is an enormous amount of IP around 5G. And we owe a lot of that to the acquisition of Motorola, but just by getting that IP gives us the ability to be first to market and so profound on the web that gets us, that, no pun intended, that weaves all this together. And if you think about it, just a few more megatrends that make this even more profound in my mind. There's 3.5 billion Google searches per day. All of that takes data, all that takes processing, whether it's client or whether it's centralized compute. Facebook users send 1 billion messages every single day, and there's 500 hours, I'm reading this so I make sure I don't embellish the numbers, 500 hours of YouTube videos added every minute. I wonder what the consumption number is on that based on my 2 crazy kids that are 3 and 6 years old and can't eat unless they're watching some stupid YouTube video on their iPads. But those are astounding numbers. So what does all this really mean? And I know it's esoteric, but again, it's smarter technology for all and being the leaders of driving this intelligent transformation. And when I sit and I listen to these visions at Lenovo, I say, look, we have to, I get it how we have all these building blocks, but you have to be very tangible in terms of how these things come to life. This just can't be science project type talk. And so what I did was I brought to you a couple of things that are real-time examples of how we're truly transforming very specific verticals. How are we transforming retail? So we have deployed in over 800 stores of a grocery store in Belgium called Ahold Delhaize. They're actually a Dutch headquartered franchise throughout Europe. And basically imagine a world where you walk into a grocery store, you don't have your phone, you don't have your credit cards, you walk in, you grab and go, and everything's paid for, taken out of your bank account, and you leave the premises, and it's pretty easy, no cashiers, et cetera. This already exists. And Lenovo technology is what drives us. We have SmartSense cameras, the software, the local, the edge servers, all of the hardware and software that can be put into a turnkey solution to allow a retailer to have seamless, very scalable experiences upon checkout where you don't even have to do that anymore. This is a real thing that's already happening, and our IP is what drives that. Think about transforming the supply chain. So this is a real-time example. Imagine the largest e-tailer in the world. If you think about the process of boxing up whatever ends up on your front doorstep through Amazon, I just said the name, through whatever, every single Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at my house, I can tell you that imagine if those boxes are loaded onto the wrong conveyor belts. Still to this day, it's a manual process to pick a box up and make sure that it goes onto the right FedEx line. Well, what we did is worked with a certain company that's a very large e-tailer to put our cameras, software, computers, edge servers in a warehouse to make sure that every single box and barcode is scanned to ensure that it ends up on the right truck, on the right plane. And if you think about the amount of money saved because you're making sure that that happens on the front end versus new shipping costs in the back end, that is a true transformation for supply chain. And again, we're already there with the building blocks we have today delivering a solution like that. Imagine a world where you have smart cities. So smart infrastructure is a buzzword that you hear about, but again, let's talk about real life tangible examples. And that is the city of Bogota, Colombia. We have made it safer. We've worked with Pivot 3 to install more than 1,000 cameras, sensors, databases, facial recognition software, our AI, IP, and all of the algorithms that we use to help calculate that, both the front end and back end compute, to literally make the city of Bogota a much safer place. Here's another example of how smart technology for all and intelligent transformation comes to life. Manufacturing. It's pretty important that all the equipment on your aircraft works. And it's funny, all this was created and dreamed up before the 737 MAX thing. So if this has ever been more relevant, I don't think there's a better time. But basically, we've worked with a commercial airliner, which I definitely can't name, that basically says we will use our augmented reality goggles to look and repair engines in this case together such that you have access to experts real time as you're diagnosed, debugging, and fixing a problem. Just imagine the efficiency involved there. The aircrafts are better up in the air and you have more eyes looking at problems. That's a good thing for all of us. So I would just say you don't have to imagine intelligent transformation. And I would also argue that if you look at the slide and even look at D&H's business model 100 years ago of selling auto parts in a tire tread house, think about the way our industry evolves over the next 100 years. I can tell you 50 years from now, I'm not going to sit here and pitch to you a ThinkPad or a ThinkBook or the smallest desktop PC in the world. We're going to be going to our end customers together selling full solutions. You know, I can think of 7 or 8 examples that we already have cooking up in our heads, whether it's coffee shops, whether it's hair salons, whether it's any business that's applicable to smarten up. This is just the beginning, and we really believe we're in the best position to capitalize on this with you for 50, 75, 100 years to come. So that's a vision that I believe in. I hope you found that mildly interesting. I know I did, and that maybe 25 years from now you'll have thought of, God, that one guy came up here at Hershey, Pennsylvania, and now this is starting to play out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe our smart people are wrong. Those aren't my ideas. I should just tell you that right now. I'm just a messenger. You're lucky those aren't my ideas, especially the guy fixing the airplane. Anyway, so let's talk about right now. Let me just put to the next slide, and I almost don't like showing this because the next slide, this isn't a victory lap. This slide is meant to tell you that we have our act together as a company on a global basis. We're back to #1 PC manufacturer in the world. That's great, victory lap, pat on the back, et cetera. We're #1 in commercial and consumer PCs in the 4th quarter, and we're #1 in terms of first to 5G offerings for mobile phones into the PC. That's great. Next slide. That's our worldwide PC market share. On the right side is our North American market share as of last year. This is the slide that we started out presenting at Accelerate last year, at all of our early forums with our partners last year. We are a measly 13.1% of the market, and we were significantly far behind our second largest competitor. So it's great. At the time, we were just under HP as #1. That obviously changed, but we were a significant underdog, obviously in North America. But the good news is, and what I like about Lenovo, and I like being the underdog, and I've grown up working in underdog companies, and maybe even before that in certain personal ways. But the fact is we like it here. But we're an underdog with means. We're a $51 billion company with, at this point in time, 1,200 basis points of share to chase in the largest IT market in the world. So how are we doing? Well, we're doing all right. This is a record high market share for Lenovo ever in the North America region. We took about 210 basis points of market share in our first year at this together. And the fact is we're just getting started. We're very hungry. We obviously have a lot of room for growth, and I'm going to tell you how we're going to go after that. And a couple of things that drove to some big numbers. And by the way, 200 basis points of share in a market the size of North America is a significant amount of units. It's about 2 million units or better on a year-to-year basis. It's significant. But a lot of that, I would say almost all of that, was achieved with our channel. And the strategy that was put into place last year truly had channel as our foundation. For those of you that were at Accelerate in Orlando, Florida, in that room that was about 38.5 degrees 2 weeks ago, saw that slide that we presented last year. We went up and we trued up how we worked to that strategy this year, and that was at the very core. This is the foundation of what we do. And so if you think about what led to some of these crazy results, of last year. One of the biggest ones, if not the most profound, was that we achieved record SMB share in revenue. Our SMB business last year was up over 40% year to year. Those are enormous numbers. And that's something that we achieved together. So the Lenovo Victory Lap slide they made me put in is done. These achievements are ours with D&H and ours with our entire partner base. We acquired 247 new logos. All of our metrics go back to beast mode. Our beast mode objective last year was to take 50 logos on a quarterly basis for 200 for the year. We took 247 and almost $1 billion worth of new business. And I'll show you how we did this. We dramatically expanded our hybrid coverage model to go after mid-market and small corporate. And again, I think this is also a testament to, I told you we basically had to blow up our entire program stack and our strategy in which we embrace and work with the channel. And that's really where we spent the vast majority of last year, our blood, sweat, tears, and certainly time on airplanes to go out and really rebuild that foundation. And I wholeheartedly hope that you feel and sense that that's happened. And I truly hope that you've seen the results that are somewhat similar to this within your own business. That's all that matters. Dan and Peter both talked a bit about Workstation. Our Workstation business was up in total over 70% year on year and over 30% within the channel. We had one big giant direct deal that was a company on the West Coast that was something we did collectively with them. Unfortunately, it wasn't a channel play, full disclosure, but in the channel it was up 30% year to year. That's explosive. We're at a record high market share in Workstations, and that is 100% due to the success that we've had with our channel partners. And this is kind of interesting. When we were #1 in Canada for the first time, if you back it up this time last year, we were 4.5% of the Canadian consumer market, which is 46% of the Canadian market. We're now about 12.5% of the Canadian consumer market, and our business there has never, ever been better. And so as we think of North America, unfortunately, I mean, I grew up in Detroit, which is right across the bridge from Windsor, and you know, I kind of feel honorary Canadian. My dad worked at Tim Hortons for 20 years, and so Canada for me is just part of the U.S. But anyway, #1 in Canada, it's a market that matters, and we're going to widen that gap with you over time. And finally, I guess this is a mutual victory lap, but together with our partners, we became the fastest growing PC manufacturer in North America after 2 or 3 years of just abysmal downfalls and rudderless results. So that really speaks to, again, all the repair and trust that our partners put back into us, and I hope we've made it worth your while. Honestly, the partnership with D&H is something that has been by far best in class. They are, without a doubt, our largest SMB and K-12 distributor. We were up 37% in commercial revenue year on year, up 20% in top seller, which really speaks to, you know, a good part of the SMB growth that we saw, up a staggering 93% in our retail e-tail business, and up over 44% just in the first quarter of this year alone in retail and e-tail. And I'll show you where we're under index in a bit, and we've got a lot of work to do specifically on the consumer side. And I think we'll grow another 20% this year behind the walls of D&H, you know, for over $300 million with us in 1 year, which would just be an astounding number to post up. So I should say thank you for that, but we'll hug it out when you get back on stage with me. So what's our plan go forward? This is a long slide, but I think it's, if you'll humor me for a second, this is the slide we use internally as our North Star. And we refer to this every single meeting. And every single quarter, we have numbers that attach to all of these, and we say, hey, how are we doing versus the strategy that we laid out last year? And there's a couple of things that I think are important to point out on this slide. The first one is reinvigorate the brand. For the first time ever, well, look, let me just admittedly say this. The ThinkPad brand is very strong. When you start to get outside of commercial users, our brand value is challenged. That's largely a consumer statement. So this year, we're going to spend tens of millions of dollars more than we did last year, and last year the number was 0, on true above-the-line advertising. So you'll see us spend $40+ million in marketing ThinkPad, ThinkBook, which I'll talk about here in a second, Legion, and our yoga products. We know we've got to do a better job of building our brand. Our vision, my vision for the future of this business, within 3 years we want to be 20% of the PC market, and within 5 years we want to be #2, and we're backing up the Brinks truck like nobody else in this space to make it happen. Let's talk about consumer for a second. Consumer has been by far the hardest thing for us to figure out. And spending some time in this business, I can tell you that it really is about mastering the category. You have to have the right products with the right features at the right time. You have to have the right retailer, the right go-to-market, the right strategy. You have to have the right promotion. You have to have the right level of marketing. You have to have, it's like a ninth order differential equation to make sure that you get the consumer business right. And we haven't been able to solve for more than 3 of those variables. We've instilled a new category organization in place that knows how to do consumer, and I can just tell you, we're starting to fire on all the right cylinders again, and it's just a matter of time before we start to make up some lost ground there. That's also related to the second bullet there relative to consumer, you say, is diversify the retailer base. Look, there's one big giant retailer in North America that owns 60% of the market. You have to work with them, that's great, but our true job, our true desire and strategy is to make sure that that is no more than half of our business as we grow, which bodes very well for our partners, which bodes very well for our distribution partners. Diversifying that retailer base is hugely critical for us to stop hemorrhaging money in consumer and continue to grow. And from a product standpoint, gaming and Chrome. We have the best gaming portfolio we've ever had with our new Legion lineup. And Chrome, we went from 0% in consumer last year to now 14% according to NPD. Chrome and consumer, as we all know, is growing significantly. So those are the three things for us to adjust and achieve another 500,000 to 1 million units in consumer year on year. Commercial. We have significantly invested in 3 areas. We've invested in state and local government, where we were sub 10% share. We've invested in high education and our hybrid model that is really driving our acquisition business with you. We've doubled the size of our hybrid team targeted towards mid-market, small corporate, like we talked about, and we've hired over 100 resources to conquer high ed and state and local government. We spent about, I'll be honest with you, the investment profile on a year-to-year basis for the company, all in including marketing, is nearly $80 to $100 million in expenses over on a year-to-year basis. That is a monstrous number. A number that gets some people uncomfortable with the company for all the right reasons, but the bets have been paying so far. But to give you some idea, 20 million of that come in just expansion of 100 resources to go out there and attack the state and local government business and high ed, where we're virtually nowhere. And those resources are roughly 80 sales makers to work with you to win more deals, and then 20 on the back end to make sure that we have the right contract, legal, marketing infrastructure in place to make sure that we're fully tooled to go out and take that business. Our acquisition goal for this year is 100 logos on a quarterly basis for $2 billion of new business. We're already flying on all cylinders there as we speak, but we've, again, significantly increased our headcount there to go attack that. Our workstation business is in hypergrowth. It's just crazy. We'll be up 20% year on year, no problems, and we're just going to make sure that we keep dumping gasoline on that fire all day long. We have key programs in play to make sure that we're running the channel the right way. Path to Platinum is something that a lot of people talk about. We know we have to have it, but I truly hope we have that structured to intrigue all of you to want to go from silver to gold, gold to platinum. And based on 4 out of 5 of the speed date roundtables I had this morning, it sounds like that's enticing enough to keep that working, and we'll work with you to help you achieve those goals. Community expansion, we've done something that is designed to ensure that our sales folks are very well aligned with our partner sales folks to go out there and take each and every single deal. ThinkBook and Premium, I'm going to show you a product here in a second that I think is a true game changer for us, and of course continue to drive all the premium products that is the ThinkPad business that we know and love. We got to get better about selling everything that's on everything around the box. Lenovo's been really good at just selling PCs, but we're well behind in terms of services pen rate, in terms of visual attached with our displays, accessories, and solutions. The beautiful thing is our salespeople internally are now paid the exact same way as we pay our channel partners. And so our folks don't get paid now unless they're selling services and accessories along with all that they're selling that is the easier stuff to sell on the core part of that. So we're really aligning the entire organization and the entire partner base to go out there and go after every single deal in a very succinct and in sync way. And at the most foundational level, we're always focused on customer experience. We want to continue to drive that winning culture, that swagger that we have found ourselves, back in both internally and with our partners. We're pretty good at operational excellence. We got a phenomenal supply chain and how we plan the business. Last year was a pain in the ass due to some of the shortages that we all encountered that are getting much better. And now we have some of the manufacturing hopscotch things we're all trying to do to make sure we're building PCs in the right place. But we are really well-tuned and well-tooled to make sure that all that happens to make the experience seamless for our customers. And again, this isn't just there for you, go channel, go. It's at the heart, the foundation of all that we plan and all that we do. There's not a single thing on this slide that would initiate that doing something in a direct fashion is more important than doing it with our partners. If you haven't seen or read about the new ThinkBook product, I certainly hope that you do, and I do believe we have some on the floor with the D&H out there. But simply put, first of all, nobody knows the SMB customer better than you, so I almost feel bad saying what I should say on this slide. you know that 50% of SMB buyers like buying consumer-like devices. And 40% of those buyers buy from consumer retail, which is great. But the fact is when you're putting consumer-like devices into a managed IT infrastructure without manageability and security, you find yourself kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. And on top of that, as you see the new millennial workforce come into play, aesthetics are getting even more important. And so we sat down and we designed a box that was specifically targeted to accomplish all those things. It's sleek, beautiful, thinner and lighter than its nearest competitors. And I can tell you the reviews so far and the early acceptance and desire to want to go sell this as fast as humanly possible has been even more than I had anticipated. And simply put, if I may, without taking digs, this is a Vostro killer, this is a ProBook killer, and I can't wait for this thing to launch. It's available starting in July. More models available coming in the later part of this year, September, October, but mark my words, this is going to be serious unit upside, and certainly relative to other companies that aren't as channel friendly, this is the way we go after that business together. Another product, let's see, sorry about that. In case you haven't seen, we announced our 7th generation X1 carbons in July. I can't express to you how sweet this thing is. It's 14.9 millimeters, it's only 2.4 pounds, making it the thinnest and lightest notebook on the planet. If you get a chance to play with it, I don't know if we have one here or not, but you'll notice that we have officially like a woven carbon fiber A panel, which is, if you think about a fancy sports car and you buy the carbon package, I'm not a carbon sports guy, but I've been told that that's I've looked at somebody's spoiler, et cetera, and you'll sort of see that carbon weave look. It's got full K Dolby, high definition panel, FHD privacy guard. It's got all the security functionality. I was telling a partner this morning, I sat next to this guy from Raleigh to Charlotte on the way here. He's about a 6'5" Dutch dude with super curly hair, hacking all over the place on the window to his right, and he ordered a gin, double gin and rocks at 11 o'clock in the morning, and he sat there and he looked at everything I was doing on my PC for 35 minutes, and I'm a pretty nice guy, but I literally had to look at the guy and just be like, come on. So long story short, we have instilled this new feature that a lot of us are trying to do the right way, but it's basically a privacy guard technology where if I had the 7th Gen X1 Carbon, I have the 6th Gen X1 Carbon, my screen would have automatically tuned out so that whatever his name was, wasn't able to read everything that was on my screen. And so and by the way, it prolongs battery life in that mode instead of shortened battery life. So that's certainly something I'm very excited for. The truth of the matter is that, by the way, that was nothing against the Dutch, by the way. I hope nobody took that the wrong way. I knew he was Dutch because I heard him speaking and I saw his last name. That's it, nothing there. I can tell you, some of our innovations are not because we have 7,000 PhD people, in some room designing the next biggest and brightest thing. The one thing I'm proud of, and actually a few of the partners had brought this up, is the fact that, look, we're a very humble organization. We're going to listen. Some of our best innovations are nothing more than a result of some of the customer advisory councils that we do. And 2 years ago, I was in 16 months ago, actually it was 15 months because it was in the month of March, we had a really good advisory council. They said, guys, I don't understand, why in the world would you put all of your speakers underneath the thing? It's like, well, okay, that's a really, really good question. So you take it back to engineering. Why would we have 4 speakers literally face down on a desk underneath all of our best-in-class products? Hey, genius, why don't you try putting them on the C panel? So we did. So we upped the speaker count, put them on the C panel, and we put 4 far-field 360-degree microphones in where you could have a Skype call if you had the box sitting 35 feet away from you. So again, a very cool thing that I've seen the company do is just listen to some honest-to-goodness feedback and actually design it into a box, and that's not the first time it's happened. So I know I'm trying to talk fast. It says I still have 14 minutes left, but I'm not going to take 14 minutes. I promise I would try to keep this somewhat interesting, but there's a few commitments I wanted to make to you. Number one is I do believe that we have the most innovative and relevant portfolio on the planet. I've been following this business, Lenovo, even not as an employee for the better part of 15, 16 years of my life, and I can tell you that I've always admired Lenovo for its products, but we truly have the best table we ever have, and I would put it against the competition all day long. And that's table stakes. If you want to be successful with us, you have to have a partner that has the best-in-class products so that you can sell a better value proposition for your customers. The second thing is, look, we have to have the right programs to earn your business. And there's no doubt that when we started this thing together last February, we had a lot of work to do to make sure that that we were making it important for you, that it was making financial sense for you to embrace us. And I hope you feel that that our path to platinum and all the different financial vehicles that we have working with you are lucrative enough to where it says, hey, I think this makes more sense with Lenovo than with competitor A or competitor B. And of course, we're always open to feedback, but we truly have put our wallets and our hearts to that to try to make it as lucrative as humanly possible. And thirdly, look, I told you we've got some pretty hairy, audacious goals out there. To be number 2 in a market that has been owned by 2 very profound brands for so long is a big endeavor. But the fact is we had a really good recipe for last year. We had a really good recipe for this year. And I really believe we've got a really good design to make that dream come true. And what I can tell you is that we're hungrier than we ever have been. Just that 1 year of taking a couple of hundred basis points of market share, like the world's on fire. There's 2,000 sales makers, 1,500 sales makers that are just willing to charge through walls to make us all wildly successful. And the difference between us and them is we truly want us all to be very successful together. And everything that we craft and create has you at the very epicenter of all of us being successful. So if you see, in us do a victory lap, or you see certain data around Lenovo charting up in the right direction, that's only good for us if it's good for you. So I hope that you work with us, that you embrace that hunger, and I truly hope that we're treating you in a way such that we're the kind of people that you want to work with, and frankly, we're the kind of partner that you just want to trust. And I honestly hope at the end of the day, I know this as an intimate partner of D&H, is that our badges are interchangeable. And I also hope that when you engage with Lenovo, you feel like you're truly part of our ecosystem and we're part of your company as well. So that really is the way we want to go forward. And I'll conclude by saying this. Hopefully, well, I'll just say it. This is very personal. This is very personal to me. This is very personal to 2,000 people just in Lenovo North America. I mean, this is a hell of a journey that we're on, and we truly are just getting started. And it's not just about words, and it's not just about me telling you the channel matters and all these things you hear with every vendor. I mean, it's really about execution. It's about holding ourselves accountable to all of these results that we put up and going through this process every single year of saying, hey, did we do what we said we were going to do? And if we didn't, let's figure out how we work together and improve together for all of us. And I really meant what I said earlier relative to our partnership with D&H. I'm the youngest of 2 brothers. Of 3, I should say. I've got one that's 10 years older and one that's 13 years older than myself. And we have a phenomenal relationship. We talk all the time. But I will tell you that I text, talk, see, and socialize more with Dan and Michael than I do them. And it's a pleasure doing it. And so I truly, from the bottom of my heart, do want to say thank you for having me. And that this partnership has just been something beautiful. And it's just so awesome to be able to do it with all of you for many years to come. So hopefully this isn't the last time I see you. Thank you for the time. I hope I didn't wear out my welcome. I hope I didn't talk too quickly, but it was great meeting some of you this morning, and I'll be around a while this afternoon in case we can meet some more again. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you, Matt. Thank you for your support. So we are very aligned, and the first rule we had is we put a picture of us. We're only doing it while we're seated down, because I don't like standing next to him a whole lot.
It's okay, little buddy.
So that's why all photos are now sitting down. So put those cameras away in the back of the room. Matt's very sincere, and the good news is it doesn't matter what he says. It's going to matter what he proves to all of us this year, and we'll stand behind him, and we'll stand behind you to help you grow your business. And with that, we want to make you some offers to make sure that makes it easier to grow business. So for all of our silver and authorized partners, we have an MDF program where we can help invest with you with Lenovo to grow your business. Premier services, so adding services, as Matt said, is important. Sometimes it doubles the margin on a transaction. We're going to offer through the end of this month 25% off all Premier services from Lenovo. We have a promotion going on now that many of you could be selected to go down to visit Lenovo's headquarters and see their innovation center. And then more specifically, some product offers. So up to 5 units, 10% off any desktop workstations, and 20% off mobile workstations for the month of June. Talk to your sales rep, stop by the booth. And then if you buy any ThinkBooks at the show, we're going to be going ahead and giving away 2 brand new ThinkBooks at the end of the show. So we want to incentivize you. We want to give you a call to action. If you haven't dabbled in all their technologies, we strongly encourage you to do so. So visit booth 107. And then later on today, there'll be more in depth. He talked about Unleash the Beast. So Beast Mode will be going over even more details and specifics of tactical measures of how Lenovo can help you grow your business. So with that, we wanted to thank you for your time. We want to thank you for your partnership. We want to thank Matt and the Lenovo team for being here. We hope you have a fantastic show. Grab me. My brother Michael, we're here all day. We'd love to meet you in person, know your name. We're not fancy. We're kind of roll your sleeves up kind of people. We answer our own phones. We answer our own email. So feel free to reach out. We want to hear the constructive criticism. That's how we get better. We have a meeting. Michael and I have a meeting, not with our vice presidents, but once a week we have breakfast with all of our directors. And the title of the meeting is, Tell Us What You Think We Don't Want to Hear, because that's how you get better. I think Lenovo's been very open to a lot of constructive feedback, so if you have feedback for them, but specifically anything for Michael and I and any of the D&H team, we want to hear from you. So thank you for your time. Have a great show.
Good.